Bienvenidos a una nueva edición de Rocktambulos. Yo soy Frank Hernández y hoy vamos a estar entrevistando, conversando, discutiendo algunas cosas muy interesantes con una leyenda del género thrash metal. En realidad, o sea, con la excusa de que van a estar finalmente regresando a Sudamérica muy pronto. Me refiero a la agrupación Death Angel y estoy acá en compañía de el gran Mark Osegueda. I don't know if I'm pronouncing well, but well,
Yeah.
great. Welcome, Mark. So,
Thank you.
yeah,
Great
thank
to
you
be
for
here.
your
Thank you
time.
so much. No, thank you for
Oh,
your time.
thank you, Mark. Well, it's been a while since your last visit to South America. So I want to ask you why it took you so long to come back here and what are you expecting for about this returning?
Yeah, I mean, it's been too long. First off, thank you very much, though. But it's been too long, 14 years. 14 years,
Yeah.
and that's crazy. That's crazy. So, I mean, and it's not due to us. We've wanted to come back. We wanted to come back to, Latin America so bad. We've been dying to get back there. And we've been telling our booking agents for years, and for some reason it just never panned out. But
Okay.
we have new booking agents now. We got rid of them.
Okay. Great.
So
Great.
now, now it's
Okay.
finally happening. But after 14 years, 14 long years, and I just remember because we just had such incredible shows down there 14 years ago. It was so much passion and so much energy. And all I know is we can't wait to get back there. And the crazy thing that happened last time we were there was it was when Relentless Retribution, the record that came out in 2010, had just come out that week. So many people didn't have it yet, or didn't even, it wasn't available in many countries yet. And so it was and so we show up to Central and South America with a brand new bassist and brand new drummer who people didn't know who they were.
Yeah, they were the newbies.
yeah. So no one knew, and they were like, "What?" And it was just very confusing for everyone. But the crowds were still wonderful and very gracious, and so now it's like perfect because now we have 4 records with Will, Damien, Ted, Rob, and myself. So people know now there's 4 records with this lineup. It's the longest running lineup that Death Angel ever had. And and all that we just expect it to be absolutely incredible and even just a far more superior experience, even though last time was wonderful, but now all the cards are in place. And this time we're going to just give them a proper Bay Area thrash show, but with Death Angel's unique sound. And it's going to cover everything from ultraviolence to humanicide and just be beautiful.
Right. I'm pretty sure that you will find new fans, a whole new generation of fans that probably were too young when you came here 15 years ago. So also you will have the old fans, the faithful fans. But what are you expecting about all these new fans? Are you already seeing new fans in your shows in another countries in the tours?
I love it, and it's the great thing is there is a new generation of thrash fans,
Okay.
and it's happening worldwide now, which is great,
Right.
and it's because it's giving the scene more life and more vibrance again, because the classic fans are there, our original fans are there, and they come to the shows, but the younger fans come too, so it just gives it this wonderful energy because you'll have in the pit now just this young crowd,
Yes.
but also, some of the older ones that aren't afraid any longer, but definitely the original fans, some of them are back by the bar or,
Yeah,
but they're
exactly.
still
Yeah.
loud and yelling,
Of
but
course.
it just makes for such such a well-rounded crowd that are just, and I could see why the youth want to grab onto it for the same reason we did. It's because it's such a great release, and it's a powerful music, and it's a technical music, and it's a protest music. It's everything that an angst teenager needs, you know, that release, and I
Yeah.
understand why. So it's
The
making the
energy.
scene very, yeah, it's
Yeah.
perfect. It's perfect. It's
They
beautiful.
have a lot of energy. So well, this time okay, you will be coming to South America, but in Argentina, your show will be even more special because you are co-headlining with Sepultura, and Sepultura in Argentina will have their last show because it's the farewell tour. So how special is that for you to play with Sepultura in their last show?
I know it's bittersweet, you know, because I it's going to be wonderful, and we're dear friends with the Sepultura guys, and you know we've done many shows together, we've toured together, and so I know it's going to be a very special night for all of us in our band, in their band, and the crew. We're friends with their crew, everything. So it'll be wonderful. But I know it'll be for the crowd as well. But it's going to be, you know, a little sad for sure. But I think we're going to have a great. We'll make it a great celebration for the music fans, and I think it's going to or the metal fans, and just I think it's going to be a very very memorable night from the beginning to the end. Yeah.
Yeah, it will be for sure. Well, I want to ask you about the new things. Last year, you released a couple of new songs. So I want to ask you, when can we expect a new album from Their Angel? Is it coming soon?
Well, it's coming. We are in the process of writing. We're definitely writing right now. Rob and Will have been demoing. You know, Rob already had a bunch of songs written. He plans on writing more, but he's been the last few weeks. Him and Will meet up a couple times a week in the Death Angel rehearsal studio to, you know, track drums and demoing drums. And then last week on Thursday, I went to Rob's house and did vocals on a song that for a demo, a Death Angel demo, but a new song that I had written. So more and more is coming. Rob keeps sending me more songs. Now I just got to keep writing more lyrics and melodies. So, but we have quite a bit, but we're going to write more because we want to get a nice amount and then pick the best ones. So yeah, but it's coming for sure. And we hope to be in the studio by the end of the year. And then we hope, I mean, nothing's in stone, but we hope to have a record out by maybe late spring, early summer next year. Yeah.
Oh, great. We will be waiting for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in 2021, you were releasing an EP, an acoustic EP, in which you were covering a Queen song, Under Pressure, and also your own songs in acoustic versions. So I want to ask you, how was the reception for this EP, this unusual cover? Who came with that idea in the band?
Yeah. It was so, you know, the reception was actually surprisingly better than I thought it would be.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I mean, it was during the pandemic, so it was very crazy, and it was very, you know, people couldn't see each other, or you weren't supposed to be around. But you know, Rob and I are cousins, so we still stayed in touch, and we'd go see each other. We were like in the little pocket of people that we would see. And so he came up with the idea, and I drove to his house. And originally he sent me the acoustic version because he told me he wrote a new acoustic song, and I was waiting for him to send me this new acoustic song. And I said, send me that song so I could write something to it. And then he sent me a song, and I hear the music. I go, that's Under Pressure. And he goes, yeah. And I go, well, what about the new song? He goes, no, I'll send that later. You know, I'll send that like next week. But we should we should try to cover this. And I said, you want to cover this? So yeah. I go, how? He goes, we could do it. We could make it cool. And I go, how the hell do you expect me to sing Freddie Mercury?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so he goes, I think we could do a cool version. And I go, and he goes, but just me and you, there'll be no drums. It's just us with acoustic. And he goes, I think we could do, this is kind of what the people need. Everyone's going through the same thing right now. And lyrically, this song makes sense. That's kind of like, when everyone was going through the pandemic and COVID, I thought, yeah, lyrically it does make sense. The whole world's going through this all at once, which is very rare. That's a once in a century thing that something like that happens. So I said, okay, I'll work hard on it, you know. So I kept practicing, and then went to his home studio, and we worked hard on it and sent it to Nuclear Blast, just, you know,
Okay.
the 4 acoustic songs, and said, what do you think? And they too, they said, hey, you know, we think it's a great idea, and once again, it'll be one of those things that Death Angel does that will separate them again from all the other thrash bands. We just kind of do our own little things just to push the envelope here and there a little bit that, you know, sets us apart. And we did it. And yeah, it surprisingly got a better reception than I thought. And I mean, I say that because I'm very humble, and especially just because of the simple fact that I had to sing Freddie Mercury, which is unbelievable to me. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a great song. It was a great cover. So
Thank you.
I want to tell you that I like
Oh,
it.
thank you.
So well, speaking about other projects, I want to ask you about your new project with Kerry King. You released this year a new song. It's a killer song, by the way.
Thank you.
So the Kings band, in fact, is like a super group. So how was your reaction when Kerry asked you to be part of this?
Oh, I was thrilled when Kerry asked me to be, you know, part of it. But, you know, as I said, absolutely thrilled. But again, as I say, for those who don't know, it didn't happen overnight. It was a very long process, you
Okay.
know, and I worked very, very, very hard to get the position. And then once I did get the position, I had to work even harder, you know, and
Yeah, of course.
that's the crazy thing. So then we did a lot of demoing, going back and forth, and then when we finally got into the studio, when we had everything tight and how it should sound, when we went to the studio to record the record with Josh Wilbur produced it, and that was just, it was incredible, just a lot of hard work, and we went in there to work, and so with Paul, Kyle, Phil, Kerry, myself, and you know, and Josh, and just, you know, Kerry had a vision and a sound in his head, and I think he picked the right people, and I know he knew he picked the right people for what he wanted to deliver. And you know, he knows what he wants. You know, he's a very to the point guy, and we worked hard, and we delivered a great record, a great record.
Yeah.
One I'm very, very proud of. You know, the first song, "Idle Hands," has been released already, and then May 17th, the record "From Hell I Rise,"
Oh yeah.
Raining Phoenix Music comes out, and when people hear it, they're gonna know we mean business, you know, and we do. There's a lot of touring ahead, and that's booked, and more keeps getting booked, and it's definitely a record I'm very proud of, and I know everyone who played on it's very proud of. And I did what I came in there and did what I was supposed to do. Kerry and Josh pushed me to areas I never went for before, and to me, as I say, how do I say it? It's just like I feel as if like I'm a translator. He has his vision and he hears
Okay.
what he hears in his head, and I basically have to translate his emotion and his emotion and his emotion of anger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's coming from an angry, pissed off place, and I have to be that translator. And he wasn't going to settle for something less than he hears. So I'm very proud of what we did, and I think when it gets released, people are going to be very excited to see it live, because these songs are made to
Yeah.
be played live. And
There is a lot
when
of people
people,
expecting for seeing the band live because it
yeah,
will be very powerful. So
it's going to be vicious. Yeah,
how are you preparing for the live? Because I
yeah. I mean,
I can hear it,
yeah,
and it's difficult to sing like that.
yeah. I just have to, you know, I just work on my voice always. You know, throughout, even when I'm not on tour, you know, I'll do maybe 4 or 5 days a week. I'll always, you know, exercise my voice and
Yeah.
rehearse a few of the songs. But still, I'll always take a few days off too, because a lot of people don't realize, you know, the voice is it's a muscle. So you gotta keep it active to keep it in shape, but you don't want to strain it too much, just like a muscle. So
Okay.
you just gotta work that, especially when you're at home. You got to work that balance, so you're exercising it, but you're not hurting it,
Yeah.
and so it stays in shape. Because sometimes on tour you don't have that option because you're playing sometimes many nights in a row.
Yeah.
You know, which
Okay.
which is strange. So you have to, the better shape it's in, the better prepared you are for it. So I just, I try to take care of it as much as I can, and exercise it as much as I can without hurting it. Yeah.
Yes, I ask you because it's not the same. I suppose that in the Angel, where you are singing songs that you are already familiar with, so you have been playing every night with the Angel songs. But in the Kerry King project, it's a new song, it's a new band, so it's sometimes it's more difficult to confront the new ones. No?
For sure. And that's why the more you practice it, the sooner it becomes second nature,
Okay.
and that's why you got to make it second nature so it feels like your own. And that's, and that helps. And one great thing is with the Death Angel stuff, I've been doing it so long that, it's like muscle memory for me too. So it just knows. And yeah, I have a lot of work and a lot of touring ahead of me, but I'm ready for ready for it. I'm one who loves to keep busy because it just,
Yeah.
and doing what I love, and what I love doing is performing live. I'm
Great.
ready.
Great. Did you know something about the reunion of Slayer, or it was a surprise to you too
No,
about
I'm a,
the
yeah, I had an inkling,
okay.
and yeah, I'm friends with a lot of people in the industry, you know what I mean? And so I had an inkling, but I'm as excited about it. Even I'm a music fan. I'm fortunate enough that I get to be a performer as well and a creator, but
Yeah.
I'm a music fan first and foremost, and I'm a huge Slayer fan. So I was very excited when I heard the news, because I think, the only thing it's going to do is bring even more attention to Kerry King, which will also bring more attention to Death Angel. I think it's all going to just be work well for all the bands, And right now, from it's just it's a great thing for metal. It really is. It
Yeah.
really is. And I've been a fan of Slayer for years, so I know this stuff inside out, and uh, I can see why. Who wouldn't want to? You come out of, people say people should retire, but unless you're, one who's been doing it for that many years, and you know that feeling, and you're accustomed to that high
Yeah.
of, the give take with the crowd. It's easier said than done to quit forever, and because it's not easy. So I can see why they'd come back, and it makes sense to me. And I believe that it's going to be good for, as I said, all the bands and all the fans, everyone involved. And I'm just glad that I get to be a part of it. Yeah,
It's great, great. Everybody is very happy for the reunion.
for sure.
So I want to come back to the Angel and ask you something that for me is very particular. It was about your song "Human Inside," which was nominated for a Grammy Award in 2019. So I want to ask you, did you expect something like this, or did it take you by surprise?
That is the huge surprise for me. Huge surprise, and just a wonderful surprise as well. Just, it's as a person who grew up as a little kid who wanted to grow up to be a musician someday.
Yeah.
And as a little kid who used to, loved music from the moment I can think, and being one who watched the Grammys with my parents when I was a little kid, and my sister, things like that. So, and I know with metal and a lot of extreme music, to many Grammys mean nothing, but
Yeah.
to someone like me, and I do love metal and extreme music, but I'm also a performer who grew up loving all music,
Okay.
and some of those memories with my parents watching the Grammys on TVs when I was a little kid are great memories. So when I got the phone call that we were, nominated for a Grammy, when you form a band called Death Angel and you're writing metal lyrics and writing heavy music, you're not trying to get a Grammy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know that. So when I get that surprise call, the day I get to call my parents and tell them I got we got nominated for a Grammy,
Yeah.
my parents' reaction, that alone felt like victory.
Great.
You know what I mean? So that's the greatest feeling there was. So
Yeah.
we didn't win the Grammy, but just being nominated and getting to tell my parents I was nominated is victory unto itself. And just the simple fact that Death Angel was nominated for a Grammy is
Right.
victory. You know what I mean?
No,
So
yeah,
it's
of
proud.
course. It's a great victory for the whole scene, for the whole genre, because seeing a thrash metal band in that list is, of course, a great victory. So it's great. I want to ask you also, if you, what do you think is the Grammy jury looking for? I mean, when they took your song into consideration, what do you think is the reason for that? Or I don't know if you know some of them. Uh, I mean, what are the criteria of the Grammy jury?
You know, it's fortunately enough, I'm a member of the voting committee, or you know, because if you're an Academy member, and anyone can be, if you're
Okay.
a musician, you know, you vote for music, you know, and I vote every year, and
Oh,
it's so
great.
it's voted by, you know, musicians and people, producers and whatnot. But to what they're looking for, it's really hard for me because, you know, it's the category is best metal performance, and you know we lost to Tool. Tool was
Yeah.
the winner, and yeah, so it's, you know, people's interpretation of what the broad spectrum of metal is, but the simple fact that they picked a song, you know, ours was Humanicide, which ironically, I know that it's not a lighthearted topic. I mean, that song is literally written about the end of the world
Yeah. Yeah.
and the end of humanity as we know it. So it's definitely wasn't, you know, a song that was had any pop ties to it,
Exactly.
you know,
Very
and so yeah, and so it's really it's impossible for me to know, but I think it's a well crafted song because me and Rob, that's one thing we've been trying to do over the years is grow as songwriters without, you know, crafting songs well, crafting thrash songs well as far as arrangements. But by that being said, it's by no means selling out because we keep the topics still very dark and very heavy, and the music's very heavy. So it's just you know, it's one's interpretation of what they're going to find. It's
Yeah.
wild. Yeah.
So, well, I want to ask you for the final question.
Okay.
In the in I want to ask you something about the hiatus years, all these years in which you were away from Dead Angel. You were in. I understand that you auditioned for Anthrax. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah, that's wild. That was a long time ago. Gosh, that was so 1990. It was maybe 92 or 93, maybe 93. So I had moved away to, I left San Francisco after I quit Death Angel. I moved to New York, and I was living in New York. And I think that's the first time that Joey and
By the
Anthrax
way,
had parted ways. Yeah. And they did a big open call of people they were auditioning. I know that. But I was one of the few people they called to,
right?
you know, actually jam with them. And I flew out to LA, it's like Burbank area, and met them at a studio out there, and we jammed for a couple hours. You know, they gave me like some songs, you know, some Anthrax songs to jam, and what could I remember? Was there
Right.
maybe Death from Above? Was that? God, I'm trying to think. I know Indians was one. Time was one. Um, maybe Metal Thrash and Mad, maybe. Yeah, and but we did that, and then we did a bunch of cover songs, just, you
Right.
know, just jamming, like not ones that we rehearsed or anything. Like, hey, try this one. We just, and you know, because we were all metal fans, so we grew up on the same stuff.
Yeah.
So it ended up being, you know, a great afternoon, and we jammed, had a blast. And you know, I'm friends with those guys, and you know, much more so now. You know, we kind of friends then, acquaintances more, and then since then we've become really, really, really good friends. And it's funny, but apparently they made it down to I made it down to the top two.
Yeah.
Eventually, it got down to me and John Bush, and they picked John Bush, which I think was a great choice. I love John Bush. He's another friend of mine. Fantastic voice. So, and I think they made the right decision to go with Bush for sure. But just knowing that they chose me to come fly, there and sing with them, and knowing that I made it to the top two, I think that's awesome. And it's funny because at the time, and now in one of Scott Ian's books, it mentions my audition, and at the time they said when we auditioned Mark, and we didn't go with Mark because he was a bit too metal for us, which I love.
Wow, okay.
I had a friend, not a friend, but a fan at a signing session have me sign that page of Scott Ian's book. And I never knew that. I love that. I think that's pretty hilarious because, I'll take being too metal.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great thing.
Yeah. So here we go.
Yeah.
Apparently I'm not too metal for Kerry King.
Exactly.
So,
Maybe at that time, Scott Ian thought that you were too much heavy, too much metal for Anthrax, because you sound more like a Slayer thing, more like a vocalist for Slayer, and maybe that's the reason why Kerry King now asked you to join his band, because he thought the same.
Time's interesting. Everything happens, in due time. And when that was happening with Anthrax, it was an odd time for thrash metal in general, like 90s, early 90s. That was an odd time for all thrash bands, and I think they made the absolute right decision for sure. And I love Anthrax, and I love Slayer, and I love, I love the fact that I'm friends with all the guys, and I really look forward to my opportunities and all the adventures I'm going to have with Kerry King, and I look forward to all the adventures and upcoming stuff I have with Death Angel for sure. Always.
Great. Yeah, it's a great family.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, Mark, thank you very much for your time. I want to ask you if you can send a little greeting for the fans and anything you want to say, obviously.
All right. There you go. Hey guys, this is Mark Osegueda from Death Angel. Thank you for watching Rocktambulos. And we can't wait. Death Angel is coming back to Argentina. We can't wait to get back there. It's been 14 years too long. Death Angel is coming back to Latin America for the Latin American Humanicide, April 2024. We look forward to seeing you there.
Well, Mark, thank you again. Thank you very much for your time, for being here. It's a real pleasure, a big honor for me having you here in Rocktambulos. So I will see you soon here in South America in April. I will be at the show, so I will be there to rock in.
You will, brother. You will.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mark. See you soon.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.